Okay, so we are back with episode 6 of the Vampire Lestat called Montreal. This episode for me is the best episode so far this season. Everything I everything was just a panoply of what we were waiting on from season 1 and season 2 to really see Louis and Lestat in real time. And in this episode, it truly feels as if we as the audience truly get to see them work, not even just work through, but just at least start to address all of the issues and just everything that was them. And they just feel so real and in this moment, and they don't even feel like 200 or 300-year-old vampires. They just feel like two men in the moment. And but we also, bro, one this episode is just everything. Another thing I would say, this episode, Lestat, love that man down. Like he he cannot see past Louis. Like, for real, he can't. So we open with the episode. Lestat, he's coming out of his coffin, and as we see, just like the rest of the world, the first thing he does when he wakes up is he go look on his phone too. So he looks on his phone. He's looking at the Billboard 200, trying to see where his album is at. And as we see, it's not charting well, and that's kind of been a growing theme throughout the season so far. As we've seen, that's kind of like what Daniel has said, to kind of like, probe and probe at him to get under his skin. Because, even the ticket sales things, trying to say, you're doing all of this work for pretty much a lackluster tour as far as sales. And even when Louis admitted that he owned his merch, that was even brought up then. Like, this tour, even though it's not as successful, it's doing numbers or however. But Lestat still feels some type of way about that because he is so desperate for outward validation. Um, and so during this time, we also learned that the vampires are, well, the band are now all vampires, and we know that the band is now, they're aware of, but they've dealt with Larry taking his life and his brother Alex just being more withdrawn since that happened. We also see that Louis spent the night. He's been spending the night, and he comes around letting Lestat know, because he's picking up on Lestat's conversation that he's having with this woman on the phone, and he's telling him, I don't think you should be doing the Great Conversion. You don't need to do this concert. We don't need to go to this dinner. We just don't. Just leave this shit where it's at. Just stop. And Lestat just lets him know that what, you think I shouldn't be doing that or whatever. They kind of have this whole episode. They really have like real couples banter, and it really just feel like we're following them trying to move through this new point of whatever it is that is their relationship. So as they go outside, they're walking to this restaurant, and Lestat lets us know that we're walking to Louis' restaurant. It's only 3 blocks from his house, and we also still find out that even after everything that happened with Fraudia, Louis was still in some connection with her. He did a Venmo and everything. I was like, damn, he was just too. He really had to get up out of there because he was about to be lost in the sauce. So they get to this restaurant, well, Louis' restaurant, where they meet Daniel. And I feel like in this moment, Louis and Lestat, which we see towards, which is going to catch up with them at the end of this episode, child. But we see that Daniel is really different in this meeting with them. His whole energy is different, and I think this is the first time that he's really looked at Louis different and looked at Louis as a lot more of a willing participant in his own story. I think Daniel really is starting to feel set up. Like, I think he's truly feeling used, because it's like, who the fuck do I trust now to find out that Armand has pretty much orchestrated his life since he came into his life. Louis was more knowing about what Armand was doing with his dealings with Daniel. He still ain't over how Lestat tricked him into telling him that story about Nikki, but didn't really come to fruition. So Daniel's really over here with this animosity. And because him and Lestat always have this fucked up banter, and so do him and Louis a little bit. They not catching up on it, but Daniel ain't really feeling them, and he's asking him questions like, "Well, how did you not know that I was getting steps ahead and figuring it out?" And Louis claimed that he was just trying to respect him, shit like that. So he claimed he ain't get in his head. This girl comes in and we find out that she's like a distant Leon Cole relative. So she pretty much like allows some of her blood to be sacrificed, and they have a little drink, and you could just tell in that moment Daniel's like, I don't like neither one of you motherfuckers. Like, if him and Louis was friends, we know in that moment he not fucking with Louis no more. So of course, we follow Louis and Lestat. They're back in the car, and this is when we first get some like real time response to issues that they've had in the past. Like, I think even we as the audience wanted to know, because Antoinette came up, child, and everything that I felt about Antoinette, Lestat did admit, and he was trying to say, "Oh, a voice I could fuck," and then Louis was like, I know that, but he was like, nah, don't let me do her like that, because y'all pretty much tried to minimize her in the book. So I'm like, you trying to say Antoinette was more than what she really was? I don't know. But even with that, he admits that he was with Antoinette to bring Louis out of his depression, but also to piss him off, like to punish him. And I always felt that way. I felt that he really kept Antoinette around as some type of punishment to Louis, because Louis wasn't taken to vampirism the way that he wanted. And I just think that he thought that they was going to ride off into a bliss, and that wasn't happening. And he was getting upset about that. So we see Lestat, they are at their rehearsal now. Well, his rehearsal for his show is supposed to be the next day. His mama, Gabriella, is already there. And he goes to sing this song, Brutal Love. I feel like Brutal Love is one of the best songs that has come out of this season. I think I had felt that way about damn, what was it? I think it was, yeah, Why Do I Have to Feel? I felt like that one was the top one, but Brutal Love, we as the audience, this right here, I think this scene and everything about it solidifies the true love that Louis and Lestat have. Very complicated and very cosmic and very dark and otherworldly, we should say, because it's on the other side of our morality of life, you could say. And because he's pretty much singing, the song is pretty much about, our love may be hard, but I still want it. And I'm still willing to give it all. And as long as I know that you want me to, I'm willing to always go that extra route. Like, I'm always willing to go full out. As long as I know that you were out there feeling the same way that I feel about you, I'm gonna always go full out. Like, can't nobody tell me nothing. And it's pretty much what I picked up, and I was like, this Lestat love this man, dog. He is like in deep. I was just like, damn, baby girl is down for Louis. Like, and I felt like in that moment, the part when they had like this longing stare and gaze at each other, I felt like that was Louis' first time in telling Lestat that he loves him. Even though he didn't say it, the body language and the stare and the glare, just like the concentrated gaze. I think it was his way of letting Lestat know that everything that you feel, I feel it too. But Miss Gabriella, girl, she learned a hard lesson in that session. She showed it. She learned that she was not number one. And I think this whole time, I already felt it, but we really see that she is jealous of Louis. And I think that we kind of believe that, oh, it makes sense. Not to make sense, but try to say that you can kind of see where their relationship goes because of it, because of her being his mother and everything like that. I feel like in that moment it's like a yeah, no. Just know that no, you fucked your son up and you had a fucked up relationship with him, because I feel it was something about that moment that it felt that Lestat was not just letting himself know, but letting her know that no, that power that you once thought that you had on over me, that you were gloating in, were pretty much feeling like that bitch in, it's not that. It's really him. And one thing that I really caught was that Louis and um Louis and Lestat, when they were gazing at each other, they both had teary eyes. But correct me if I'm wrong, if I was seeing something, it did not look like their eye gaze, like they're watery. It didn't look like it was watery. I mean, not watery. It didn't look like it was bloody, like it normally looks. It looked watery, like as if it was human eyes, and it made me kind of think of, was it the show's way of saying that no, Louis and Lestat really do love each other, and it's more than just being having a vampire bond and being his fledgling. Because if we go back to season one, when Louis still had brown eyes, we could already see that Louis and Lestat were very much so in deep, at least in deep like with each other. Like when Louis was a human, he already had deep, profound feelings for this man. He was already, defending him to Grace when he was like, he ain't white, he French. I just feel like in that moment, it kind of, I mean, I could be overlooking it, but it felt like it was a way of saying like, no, this is a true deep bond between these two characters, and it goes outside of vampirism. Vampirism just it heightens it, it makes it even more stronger. But no, they were, it almost gives like they were gonna like each other in any lifetime, almost like a soulmate. So, but shit has to come to a screeching halt, and it does, because as he continues to rehearse for the show, Louis is on his phone. To which, at the end of the rehearsal, Lestat says something to Louis about it, and he's like, "I'm gonna talk to you in the car about it." And Gabriella, she wants to kind of throw her pussy around to try to, I guess, let Lestat know, "Oh, I'm still in charge." And Lestat just kind of lets her know that, yeah, I saw how you tried to mark and tag your territory, but you don't have that power no more. So, no, I'm not waiting on you. I'm not doing it. It felt like his final moment of like growing up. Like he was crossing that threshold of becoming his own person and becoming strong enough to say no to her and not still need that validation from her. So they get in the car and we hear this moaning on a video, and Louis is looking at it because earlier in the episode, Daniel does mention who, ask him about who is Sophia. And so Louis is like, what the fuck is this? And so we see that it is a video of Lestat and his mama fucking. And Louis is like, hold up. Is Gabriella Sophia? Is she your mama? Like everything is coming down on Louis. Like, what the fuck is going on? And Lestat is like, that Negro, not that Negro, but he started saying like, oh no, it's an AI deep fake or whatever. Bullshit. He was like, I got it from this link that literally goes to a video of Daniel and Armand's ass in the sun telling us about how Gabriella, Sophia is really Gabriella, who is really Lestat's mama, and he is fucking his mama. Like, it was just, and Lestat trying to laugh it off, like, no, sis, like, you got caught in some fucked up shit. To which Louis and Lestat, we see, it's like they have this fight that we knew was brewing. And Lestat, he starts to throw up. He starts to vomit on Louis. So they got to get out the car. And they pretty much, he's like, are you telling me that you, Louis be like, motherfucker, are you telling me that you fucking your mama? Like, tell me the truth. Like, what the fuck is going on? And Lestat is trying to play it off as if like, don't do me like that. Don't try to pull that morality shit that you do to try to win arguments. Like, don't do that. Like, you don't understand, and all this and that. And Louis like, no, don't try to pull no vampire shit. That because there's nothing that would make sense of why you done started fucking your mama. Like there's absolutely nothing. And he was like, you know what, you sick. Oh shit, he told him he was sick, all that shit. He was like, that's why you fucked up now, pretty much, because you fucking your mama. Like you fucked up. That's why you fucked up. And then Lestat is like, bitch. And this when Lestat kind of comes out, and he's like, you know what, you got some motherfucking nerve, because when you was paying some bitch who looks like Claudia, and you fucking acting out scenes with the bitch, I didn't judge you. And you sound so fucking judgy, but you want to judge me. I didn't judge when you was over there paying this bitch to act out scenes with our dead daughter. I've taken you in. I've offered you shelter. I've offered, even as I'm fucking falling apart, even as you didn't come check on me when I got popped. Like, I feel like he was like, nigga, I know you ain't got no motherfucking nerve. And so Lestat starts hyperventilating, and Louis is like, oh shit, like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. He really goes to hold him up, and you know, like I think Louis like, well, goddamn, like shit. I guess I don't really fucked up. Like I guess I really, taking advantage of him. I don't know, but he carry him to this bar, and he kind of like, okay, we still got to talk about this, and but you can tell that Louis is treading lightly, but Lestat is like, you know what, you had a fucked up relationship with your mama. And he's like, no, that's not the same. He's like, your mama blamed you for Paul's death and all that shit. And he was like, no, that's not the same. Your mama called you the devil. I think he's pretty much, we both got fucked up mommy situations, but let's not, no. No, just like Louis said, I wasn't fucking my mama. Like, what the hell? So as they go to I'm trying to figure out what was I at. So, but another thing that Louis said to Lestat, which was very fucked up, he compared him to Armand. That was really what took their argument over. He was like, this lie that you didn't tell me about your mama is like on the seat of Armand, because you've kept this lie for 100 years, because you had that bitch's portrait over our coffins when we were together. And I'm gonna have to go back and see if I saw that in season 1. But he was like, no, this is a lie that you held on to, because you didn't tell me this shit. I'm like, what the fuck? So we move to baby, the big part of the episode, the seance, where we get Claudia in her rare, like Claudia is in full on rage. And it's just so amazing to see her like this. I really love when I tell you, she was just nasty in her rage. We meet Merrick, who is the medium who brings Claudia to us, and child, Claudia is mad as a motherfucker. As they call on Claudia, she smashes the lady's fucking head, like breaks her fucking teeth. And she was about to stop, and they was like, no, keep going. And she was like, you motherfuckers gonna have to pay for a dentist. Shit. Claudia comes out, and baby girl is in fucking rage. Like, it really gives a new view of Louis and truly what they did to Claudia. Like, the true totality of what Louis did to Claudia. It's really romanticized, and he just wanted his sister. He needed a partner. He needed a loved one, a part of his humanity. Yes, but he literally took this young child's humanity because of what he was feeling. Like, we really see in this episode that Louis is selfish as fuck, which he admits to. It's like, this motherfucker is selfish when you really take in the totality of what he did to Claudia, what him and Lestat did to Claudia. Because she pretty much says that. She tells Louis, motherfucker, I hated your ass because you was a bitch. Actually, really like Lestat more than you, because at least he knew that he was fucked up. At least he knew who he was. And she tells Louis, like, I hated you the most. And her rage really comes out when she sees that, oh, you motherfuckers back together? Like, oh shit. You motherfuckers got some nerve. Um, she she goes on to say that she only picked Louis to kind of get close to. Pretty much, it was almost was she kind of saying that because we were both black, I knew that I could like kind of have that vibe with you because when she told him he had the market of a slave on him, and I was like, bro, now that's a part of Louis' backstory that we need to know because was he branded? Was she saying that he was branded? But she pretty much says, I pretty much set everything up so you could get got. Cause I mean, the shit that she was saying to Louis was like, you know, don't you? It was like, who are you? Pretty much like you are a fraud. You are fake. You are not who you really say you are. Which kind of at this point we kind of don't really know who Louis is. And as she's really going off, she goes we learn that she pretty much used Louis against Lestat, um especially with I guess something that allegedly did not happen on the train. She just when she just goes she goes in to say how she pretty much dang I think it was with Lestat where she was talking about where she knew that he would follow Louis. When she called Louis his black queen, I said, whoa, bitch. But Louis showed himself to be, like I said, selfish in this episode. And even Lestat was kind of like, bro, are you fucking serious? When he was like, don't you have shit you should be thanking me for in reference to Bruce, killing Bruce? And she turned around like, I know this nigga didn't. I know you didn't bring up Bruce, who you killed, 7 decades later, and you was reading my diaries to, like some little girl. She was like, you did that for you. You didn't do shit for me. And like when you really think about it, Claudia was Louis' like the ultimate sacrifice because of his selfishness. He did not want to let go, but also that kind of ties back into Lestat. And you know, when she starts going off on Lestat saying that you was a fool to come to Paris to save him because I would have let his ass burn. And she was like, the fact that you saved him and you had to wait decades just to get what, a hug and a hurricane. Oh, she read the motherfuckers down. And the end of her, I would say her monologue, we really hear the pain in Claudia's voice and the pain in her existence because now she's in this hell. But she says she's forever lost because she can't find Madeline. And she said Madeline was the one thing in her bleak black life. And that was so powerful because honestly, like Lestat had made fun of her in season 1, she had an inconsequential life, but just like Louis said, they took it from her. It didn't seem like she would have had a good life, honestly, because she was being raised in that halfway house around nasty men and around an aunt that beat her. So what would have been her life? But still, Louis took her life for selfish reasons, and because of Louis, once again, she's now really in this hell where the one thing that she ever truly had in her life was someone treated her well. She can't find it. And then to come here and see Louis and Lestat together, like, bitch, I know you fucking lying. And I think in that moment, they truly see the error in what it was when they made Claudia, especially Louis. Like, I truly think he sees that even his whole grieving Claudia is selfish to even think that, that he's honoring her. Like everything about her is how he views her and how he wants to see her in his life, not how he sees Claudia. So we go to the park, after this moment, it's like they realize it's heavy, but they kind of laugh it off. And in this moment, we get to see, this is when we get the biggest what the fuck of the series, but then we also get to see Louis And Lestat really, when we say he loved this man down, like he let this man down. They pretty much, talk about pretty it feels like this really is the epic reunion, because it feels like they're talking about everything, every little thing that we might have wanted to hear them talk about throughout season two. Through season one and two. Louis admits he needs to work on himself, because even Lestat was like, yeah, because when you was like what I did for you with Bruce, he was like, that was fucked up. Even out of everything, even to see that her spirit hates us the way that it does because of us making her, and how that really was a sacrifice to her because of our selfishness. He was like, bro, that was fucked up for you to say that. But Lestat also admits that he kind of secretly wanted Louis to find out about Sophia when he starts to ask him questions about her. But he's like, he's addicted to making his life hard. And Louis like, it's because you're a vampire. You on the other side of death. You need to feel something that, I guess, that'll make you feel real. Because if not, being immortal, like, what is there to look forward to? So, we just see Lestat, the way he's looking at Louis is like, my man, my man, my man. Lord, he is my man, my man, my man. And Louis is like, if we were in a trailer park, if it was just us again, and we were in a trailer park and we could have little flower beds, I said, Lord, they so wrapped up in each other. They like, you know what? I would love you if we were in a trailer park. And like, I really do feel that way. That's why I feel their bond really is. I feel, whether they were vampires or not, they would have, I think they would have been together. And not saying, oh, they would have been together, but we can see them together. It just feels genuine. Like, it feels like they would have been interested in each other even as humans. Um, and Lestat is all smiles. And that's another time in the body language that it feels that Louis is telling him that he loves him. Like, they rubbing fingers, and it's giving my man, my man, my man. But like I said, what the fuck? Louis sees this Dracula out the corner, and he's like, who was that? And Lestat is like, oh, is that Alex? And then Louis and Lestat are turned, and these motherfuckers get beheaded. How in the fuck did Louis and Lestat, the two main characters, how? I need to sip something. How do they get beheaded? The two of me, I mean, we know that they can't be dead. These motherfuckers can't be dead. But the fact we learn that it's Daniel and Armand who both behead Lestat and Louis, and it's like, oh my gosh, because Daniel did say that he's seeing somebody. So is it about to be my man versus my man? Because what the fuck? Literally, like, it's literally us against the world for both sides. Like, Lestat and Louis are us against the world, and I guess Daniel and Armand, I guess they the new us against the world a little bit. I don't know, but it's like, no, these motherfuckers didn't. They done popped them. Like, I even want to know how they gonna say that they survived. But we know, shit. How are they gonna say that they put their heads back on? Oh fuck. How they gonna do that? But that was episode 6. That was episode 6 of Montreal. Let me know if I missed anything, or let me know what you enjoyed about this episode as well.